All right, I'm out here in the wilderness. I am stranded. I don't know what to do. It's cold, you know. What do I do? How do I get home? Oh, wait a minute. There's just a random Mercedes here that maybe I can procure. But this looks familiar. Wait, this is my Mercedes. And I mean mine. For the first time in the history of God Next, or for me personally, we're going to review my car. And I just got this about a month ago. This is a 2018 Mercedes-AMG E63 S. And it's mine. And I still can't believe it's mine. But my name is Evo, and you're watching God Next. So, like I said, my car, which is pretty, it still feels surreal to say it's my car because this was like one of my dream cars that I finally was able to buy. But yeah, 2018 Mercedes E63 S AMG, painted in selenite gray metallic, which is sort of it's a default color, nothing special, nothing crazy. But yeah, this is codenamed the W213, which for the US market officially came out in 2018 for the E63, 2017 for the W213 as like an E300. But this was a lifelong dream car of mine. If you guys know, I've mentioned it before in other videos. I own a 2004 E55, which is, I guess this car is like granddaddy, you can say. But this had to be my next step up, my next daily driver. And I mean, look at it. I think the W213 is one of the most aggressive looking E-classes and one of the best looking E-classes in my opinion. I think the 211 is the best one. I might be biased again. I have one of those, but this thing is amazing. I kind of wish it was painted in white because I think these cars in white look absolutely awesome, but can't fault this thing. It looks great. One of my favorite features on the front end of this car is this huge grille. It pretty much tells you what it is. You know, they went away with the old school logo where you had the three-pointed star kind of sticking out. That's gone. It's just a flat star. You have a huge star right in the front. You do have on this one, these are, Mercedes calls them their multi-beam LED intelligent lighting, which is basically code name for their really expensive headlights. One of these headlights, I believe, is like $2,000. So they're pretty expensive, but these things are really pretty. I mean, down here you have, of course, the front, really aggressive front bumper. If you are keen and you were noticing some things in here, and in here, you have 3 intercoolers. Because again, this is not an E300 4-cylinder. This is a big daddy, big boy twin turbo V8 that you need to cool off all 603 horsepower. We'll talk about that once we get under here. But let's move down to the side, which this car looks really pretty. First thing we have here is for something that not a lot of these E63s have, and what I mean by that is these are the silver wheels. Now, you guys are gonna be like, what are you talking about? Every E63 has these wheels. Not true, because a lot of these E63s have the black wheels with the kind of metallic finish on them. These wheels are kind of curb rash because the last owner probably didn't know what curbs were, but it is really, really, I mean, I love the design of these wheels, and I'm really happy it's silver because it offsets the dark gray. Black would have looked really cool, but again, it's 2025. Black wheels are sort of like a 2016 thing. Silver wheels are coming back, and I'm happy about that. This car also has huge brake calipers on it and huge rotors. The rotors are drilled and slotted, and these brakes are also really expensive. I'm really happy that they're not carbon ceramics because I've heard carbon ceramics can get stupid expensive. Very, very expensive. But let's go around the rear and take a look at that too. Now, looking around the rear, one of my favorite things about AMG classes has always been how kind of subtle they are. Now, take subtle with a grain of salt because they're not all subtle. I'm talking about the E55, like my original E55, where if you look at an original one that hasn't been modified, it looks like a regular E500 with a sport package. Kind of a similar concept with this car. This one obviously is a lot more aggressive because you have the quad tips around the rear that say AMG, there's AMG all over the place, and the V8 bi-turbo on the side of the fender doesn't help either. But overall, it's nothing too crazy. If I took the lip spoiler off, took the badges off, you could probably pass off as a E300 with a sport package or something along those lines. Obviously, again, the quad tips are a little bit different, but the car is a really handsome looking car. I mean, Mercedes honestly outdid themselves. I prefer the look of this thing over the newer W214. Is that what they're calling the new one, I guess? This looks way better. I prefer it. And of course, daddy's money. But this is daddy right here because I bought this thing. Nobody gave me money. I bought this car. But let's go look underneath the hood, because that's where the magic happens. Now, looking around underneath the hood here, we basically have something very beautiful. Now, under all this plastic and these, I'll get into these intakes in a second, but this is Mercedes's M177. What that means is this is a 4-liter twin turbo or bi-turbo V8, which makes 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. This thing is an animal. Now, I love this motor. It is a hot V design, which for all of you that don't know what hot V means, it means the turbos are right there. I'm staring at the turbos right down the middle, which you either love it or you hate it. It is a lot more efficient. There's virtually no boost lag when you get into power, which is good, but it does make for a lot of heat that's circulated right in the middle of the engine, which people say can cause problems later on. I don't know, whatever. But yes, this car also doesn't have the stock intakes, and you guys will hear what these sound like. This is a, they call it a CTS turbo intake. I modified these. The car came with the stock intakes. I still have them, but I was like, I want to hear the sound more. They say these intakes add 10 to 20 horsepower. I doubt it. I don't think that's true. But at least for the noise factor, it's there. And it sounds crazy when you hear this thing intake. And I mean, here, listen to this. You're not going to be able to hear the turbos as much because we're stationary, and I mean, it's not really going to give much boost. You have to get into a power band for it too, but it sounds absolutely nuts. And honestly, it makes it look pretty good with the red brake calipers and the red filters. So yeah, let's move on to the interior because it looks real good in there. Now, hopping inside the interior of the 213 E63, this is a really nice place to be. I mean, Mercedes really outdid themselves when it came to this interior. You know, of course, you have the huge, basically fully digital LED screens, which are kind of an industry standard nowadays. Everybody has them. But the W222 S-Class started this back in 2014, and of course, it trickled down to the lower class cars. This one is relatively low optioned in terms of interior options. It doesn't have anything crazy. You guys can see it has the regular comfort seats, which I wanted a car with comfort seats. I did not want the bucket seats. The bucket seats look super cool and they're awesome, but this is my daily driver and I don't really want an uncomfortable seat to be sitting in. So these will do just fine. These are heated, cooled massage seats, and they do exactly what you want them to do. They're also dynamic seats, which means when you're taking corners, the seats bolsters will hug you and all that kind of stuff. As you guys can see, the car also has this aluminum look finish, which I'm actually glad it has this and not wood, because I don't know. I mean, the wood's fine, but it just doesn't fit with the personality of this car. Ideally, I would have wanted the carbon fiber package, especially for this center console here, because the amount of fingerprints and key dings and scratches that this black piano thing leaves, it drives me nuts. It literally drives me nuts. But regardless of that, maybe one day I'll upgrade to a carbon fiber style where you get the carbon fiber here, the dash, and on this part right here. But I'm not trying to pay $2,000 for some guy that's selling it out of a junkyard in, I don't know, in California or something. But regardless, this car also does have the upgraded steering wheel. What I mean by upgraded, I mean is you have this nasty looking Alcantara because the car's 8 years old now. 8 years old? 7 years old? Yeah. It's 7 years old. And this Alcantara has absolutely deteriorated itself and now has become smooth and sometimes sticky, which is disgusting. So the plan is to eventually upgrade the steering wheel to the facelift one, like a 2020 steering wheel. Probably going to avoid doing Alcantara just because, again, it's a daily, and Alcantara, as you can see, this is what happens when you don't properly clean it and stuff like that. But overall, this interior is really nice. I mean, it is a great place to be. It is a much more nicer interior than the W212 cars. Those cars have an interior that, looks like that you're driving a base model CLA, which is not a good thing because it's a $100,000 car. And this one actually feels like this one's probably like 130 grand, but it feels like a $130,000 interior. Of course, panoramic sunroof. Also, one of the biggest options this car is missing that I wish it had is the upgraded Burmeister 3D sound system. I have the regular Burmeister sound system. So I'm missing the big tweeter that goes right here. And then, of course, the nice little tweeters that are on the doors, which rotate out and glow at night and stuff like that. But yeah, beggars can't be choosers. I love this car to death. It is awesome. It's becoming one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. And there's only one actually, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons of why it's become one of my favorites is, let's start it up and let me show you guys why I love this car. Alrighty, so sitting behind the wheel of my 2018 E63, and I get to say that, my car. This is not a car we borrowed from the dealership. It's mine. And how does it drive? Well, the E-Class has always just driven it's driven good. I mean, yeah, this one's going to be a little bit harsher, I guess you can say, of a ride than an E300 or whatever the heck you want to call it. Because, again, this is the fast one, right? I mean, there's quite literally a button right here that shows a suspension shock that I can click, which stiffens the suspension. And on this car, you actually feel it. The car gets much stiffer and it gets bumpy, which, if you're on the track, fine. But on this back road here in Mexico, it is not fine because the road is not very good. But let me put it in Sport Plus mode, and then I can show you guys what this thing... Damn! You see that? I'll show you guys what this thing sounds like. She's a little nasty, I guess you can say.
Chill with the camera, bro. I don't...
As you guys can hear, the cameraman is saying chill. But I don't chill. That's why I bought this. Because again, as the plate says, daddy's money, but I'm daddy. But all jokes aside, this car is really fast. It is actually really, really fast. For a stock car, 600 horsepower. And if we're being honest here, the Germans lie. They like to lie. Because a friend of mine that has a BMW M2 dynoed his car, and they said that it makes 450 horsepower. And it doesn't. It makes more than that. So I'm willing to bet that this car does not make 603 horsepower, and it makes more than that. And you can feel it because this thing is really fast. But aside from that, the car, when you put it in comfort mode, the suspension is comfortable. It actually quiets down, and it's really nice. I mean, this is my daily driver. I've put about 1,000 miles on this thing in the last month, and I love it. Massaging seats, heated, cooled. I mean, the transmission is super smooth. The transmission on this car is Mercedes calls it their 7 or 9G multi-clutch. It's a 9-speed. Some people say it's not as good as the ZF8 speed. Some people say it's just as good or better. I don't know. I don't think it's as good as a PDK, but I think it's a really nice transmission for a daily driver car, which is what I use this thing constantly. And as you guys can see, when I floored it, Matthias, the cameraman, and this other guy that we got in the back that we kidnapped was screaming. And the car is fast. And it being all-wheel drive helps with that because like a C63, which is the same engine, less power, but you know, it's not as fast. Or I shouldn't say not as fast. It doesn't feel as shockingly fast. But let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go back to the location and let's end this thing out. So that's my new E63 AMG. I still can't believe that I get to say those words because, yes, this car is in fact mine. Not owned by anybody else, but my car. And I love it. I absolutely love it. This thing has been my daily. I've put about 1,000 miles on it in about a month so far. And I just can't stop driving it. Everywhere I got to go, or anytime I got to go somewhere, I'm taking the E63 because I enjoy driving it. And also because the E55 is really loud. Matthias, we really need to do a video on the E55 one of these days once I get it going and everything. Well, it does run, but whatever. But yeah, this thing is awesome. It's one of my dream cars. Now we got to start chasing something else. But as of right now, I'm absolutely in love with this thing. So let me know down below. What do you guys think about my, I guess, new to me 2018 E63? I love it. I know there's going to be people in the comments that are going to be like, the M5 is better, the RS6 is better. Sure, those cars are all great and whatever. I love this thing. I love the way it looks. I love the interior, and I love that power band, as you guys can see, or saw, whatever the words are. I'm lost for words because I love this thing. But let me know down below what you guys think of my E63. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.